strict security measures are being taken at Fulchester Crown Court on this first day of the trial of Robert Ager and George Lanigan. Both men come from Fulchester's largest prison, Parkmoor. This prison has recently attracted a great deal of national publicity on account of rumours of corruption inside the prison. Ager, one of the accused, is employed as a prison officer at Parkmoor. The Crown, represented by Mr. Stephen Harvesty, allege that Lanigan bribed Ager to smuggle forbidden goods into the prison. Ager is charged with accepting the alleged bribe.
I call Mr. Frederick Dean.
Frederick Dean, please.
What is your religion?
C of E.
Take the testament in your right hand and read aloud the words on this card.
I swear by Almighty God that the evidence I shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Your name is Frederick Dean, and you are at present detained in Her Majesty's Prison, Parkmoor.
Yes, Gov.
Dean, you will address counsel as Mr. Harvesty or Sir, not Gov.
Oh, right you are, Gov. Your Lordship. Sorry.
Mr. Dean, do you know the two defendants in the dock?
Yes, I do, sir.
In what way are they connected with Parkmoor?
Well, one's a screw at Parkmoor and the other one
What did you say?
a screw, Your Lordship. A prison officer.
Then would you kindly refer to him as such so that the jury may understand what you're talking about?
Oh, yeah. Well, that one is a prison officer at Parkmoor, and the one sitting next to him is George Lanigan. He's a con like me.
You mean that he's a fellow inmate in Parkmoor?
Yeah.
Have you known either of them very long?
Ever since I've been in the boob, sir.
By the boob, do you mean the prison?
Of course.
During the sentence that you're presently serving?
Eh?
Did you know either of them before that?
Oh, not personally, like, no.
Did you have occasion to go to George Lanigan's cell on a certain day in October of 1972?
Well, of course. That's why I'm here to testify, isn't it, sir?
Yes, well, would you tell the jury, please, what you saw?
Oh, right. Well, I was in Lanigan's Peter when Ager came in and slipped him a caution of gear, wasn't I? Obvious sus.
Mr. Harvesty, if the witness continues to give his testimony in these esoteric terms, we shall need an interpreter of criminal argot for the jury to understand what is being said.
Yes, I appreciate the difficulty, my lord. But as I'm sure your lordship is aware, it isn't easy for anyone to change the idiomatic habits of a lifetime.
Yes, that may be so, Mr. Harvesty, but how do you propose that we comprehend what is being said?
Well, my lord, I don't claim to be an expert, but I'll do my best to clarify the more obscure terms.
Very well, Mr. Harvesty.
Now, Mr. Dean, correct me, please, if I'm wrong. You were in Lanigan's cell when Ager, a prison officer, came in and gave Lanigan a parcel.
Yeah, well, that's what I said.
Did you see the contents of this parcel?
Yes, I did, sir. There was a bottle of whiskey, some cigars, and, some toilet gear. Yes. You know, aftershave, toothpaste, stuff like that.
Was Officer Ager present when the parcel was opened?
No, he slipped out a bit lively. Just dumped the cushion on the table and went. Said to Lanigan something like, I'll see you about it later, George. I guess that was because I was there, see?
Yes. And you later informed the authorities of this illegal transaction?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Dean.
Mr. Lotterby, your client Lanigan is first named in the indictment, so you should begin the cross-examination.
Mr. Dean, you are 40 years old and have a criminal record that dates back to when you were 12, is that right?
Well, I've done a bit of bird in my time, yeah.
You have indeed, Mr. Dean. In fact, you've spent something like 18 years of your life in prison.
Well, something like that.
You are, in fact, aren't you, what is known as a recidivist?
Do what?
As someone who always relapses into crime. Someone destined to spend most of his life as a criminal. Albeit, in your particular case, not a very successful one.
Well, I don't know about that.
Oh, I do, Mr. Dean. You have 23 previous convictions. Petty larceny, burglary, receiving stolen goods, indecent assault. Oh, that is correct, isn't it, Mr. Dean?
Well, that indecent thing was a long time ago.
My lord, Mr. Dean's past record has no bearing on the facts in this case.
No, but I submit his credibility has, my lord.
I'm afraid I agree with Mr. Lotterby, Mr. Harvesty.
As you wish, my lord.
Tell me, Mr. Dean, did you plead guilty to any of these 23 previous charges?
Yeah, most of it.
And did you, on any of those occasions when you pleaded not guilty, go into the witness box, take the oath and give evidence?
Yeah. Oh, once or twice my barrister said it would be better if I didn't.
I expect he did, Mr. Dean, because on those occasions when you did go into the witness box and gave evidence under oath, The jury disbelieved you and found you guilty.
Well, I've paid for what I've done.
Now, I want you to tell us a little more about yourself, Mr. Dean. Now, until you went to Parkmore, you were known in criminal circles as a Jack the Lad, weren't you?
Jack the Lad.
A leader, my lord, a boss.
Inside and out, you were known as Jack the Lad. Now, it is common knowledge, is it not, Mr. Dean, that most criminals, most prisons house certain inmates who tend to dictate the order of things.
If you mean there's a few geezers in Nick who take liberties with other cons and are into most of the fiddles, yes.
And you were one of them.
Yeah, me and my little firm used to run most things, but I went straight years ago.
Went straight, Mr. Dean, or went soft?
Leave off.
Now, your little firm, you mean yourself and your close associates?
Yeah, me and my pals, yeah.
What sort of things did you run, Mr. Dean?
Well, we used to run a book, and we also
book?
used... Yeah, bookmaking, you know. If you want to have a bet on the horses or a fight or something, you place it with a firm.
I see, your firm.
Yeah.
And the other things?
Well, if there's anything in particular that you want and you can't get hold of, you know, contraband gear, like booze, proper booze, not the poisonous plonk geezers make with themselves, well, you can get it through the firm. At a price, of course.
For a price?
Well, you've got to pay for everything in this life, haven't you?
Yeah. Well, tell me, Mr. Dean, what sort of price does an inmate have to pay for these illegal goods?
Oh, well over the odds, that's for sure. Something like double or sometimes treble what you'd have to pay outside straight like.
Well, as I understand it, Mr. Dean, the wages an inmate receives in prison is quite small. It was something in the region of £1 a week.
You must be joking. More like 30 or 50p a week. That's unless you go to one of them poshnicks, the open ones like Fort, where they send all the bent old bill to barristers and the doctors.
So an inmate would have to find some other means of payment?
Well, it goes without saying, doesn't it?
Illegal means?
Oh, of course.
Now, how are these illegal methods of payment accomplished?
Oh, well, they bring the gear in, and you arrange with a pal or your missus or someone to pay them outside, see?
How do these illegal goods get into the prison?
Oh, well, there's all sorts of ways, isn't there? Just loads of gear gets smuggled into Nick one way or the other. Like outside working parties, you know, comms that is, visitors to the Nick, official ones, you know. Well, if you can bend one of them, you're laughing.
You mean visitors other than people visiting relations and such?
Yeah, you know, teachers, official prison visitors, delivery men, that sort of thing. Of course, there ain't many about that'll do it, but you do get the odd one or two. Yeah, but some, they just bring in a bit of snout, you know. Well, that's tobacco, your lordship. As a favour, they don't pay for it or nothing, but you do get the odd one or two who will do a bit of business. Naturally, you've got to pay over the odds. I mean, they ain't doing it for love, are they?
You make it all sound remarkably simple, Mr. Dean. Is it really that easy?
Oh, no. Can be a bit dodgy as it happens, doing it that way. Well, they've got to be careful who they slip the gear to, haven't they? But the best way of all is to get hold of a bent screw. Prison officer, your lordship. Sorry. Well, I mean, he's got a licence, hasn't he?
A licence?
Yeah, well, he can come and go as he pleases, can't he? No one's going to question him or stop and search him. And he can slip you the gear whenever he likes, can't he?
Are there many such corrupt prison officers?
Well, I've been in a few nicks in my time, and there's always been one or two about.
How can you tell which ones are corrupt?
Well, it's not many secrets in the nick, Gov, not when it comes to things like that.
Are you saying, Dean, that these transactions go on quite openly with the knowledge of everyone in the prison?
Oh, not exactly, your lordship, no.
Then what exactly do you mean?
Well, things get about. You get to hear things, you know?
And are the authorities just as aware of these transactions and who is involved?
Well, they ain't silly, are they? Not they seem to do much about it.
What do you mean?
Well, they've got to look after their own, haven't they?
Very well, Mr. Lottery.
So you used to run a firm whose business included illicit bookmaking and the running of, the obtaining of luxuries in prison by illicit and illegal means. But you're not doing that in Parkmore now, are you? And you weren't doing it at the time of these alleged offences.
Oh, well, no, well, I told you, I've gone straight.
Well, it's not quite like that, is it, Mr. Dean? Isn't it because you have acquired the unsavoury reputation of being an informer?
Oh, my lord. Mr. Dean witnessed an illegal transaction and reported it to the proper authorities. I should have thought that was an action to be commended. Not, as my learned friend seems to be suggesting, condemned.
It's quite so, Mr. Harvester, but if I anticipate Mr. Lotterby's line of questioning correctly, his questions may have some relevance.
My lord.
Go on, Mr. Lotterby, please.
I'm obliged, my lord. You are an informer, aren't you, Mr. Dean? Tell me, why were you in Lanigan's cell at the time you allege Mr. Ager entered with that parcel?
Well, I was just there, that's
Just
all.
there?
Yeah.
And Mr. Ager saw you?
Well, of course he did.
And still handed Lanigan the parcel?
Well, yeah.
Well, he as a prison officer must be only too well aware of your reputation as an informer.
Well, he did give it him.
Really? Are you a friend of Lanigan's?
Well, no, not exactly, no.
No, that is also self-evident. So why were you there in his cell?
Oh, we had this little bit of business to discuss.
What sort of business?
Well, nothing much, I can't remember.
Come now, Dean, if you were in the cell, why were you there?
Well, Lanigan runs the books, Your Lordship.
Lanigan does the bookmaking in Parkmore. Is that what you were saying?
Yeah, that's right.
And what were you doing? Laying a bet?
No, I owed him a couple of ounces.
My lord, I believe that the common currency in prison is tobacco. Therefore, a few ounces would mean a few ounces of tobacco.
Really, Mr. Harvester?
Yes, madam.
So, you were saying you were in Lanigan's cell for a debt he owed you?
A moment, Mr. Lotterby, if you will. Do I understand, Dean, that you can just wander round the prison conducting transactions of this nature?
Well, it was during what they call association period, Your Lordship. There's a couple of hours in the evening when they unlock the cells and you can have a chat to your mates, game of darts, drafts and watch the telly and all that, you know?
Carry on, Mr. Lotterby.
Had Mr. Lanigan asked you to go to his cell about the debt?
Well, he didn't ask, did he? When he paid, I had to do something. He was putting the frighteners on me.
I believe you are now on what is called Rule 43 in the prison, aren't you, Mr. Dean?
Yeah.
Rule 43, my lord, is a prison regulation which allows the governor to place a man in a kind of solitary confinement, sometimes for security reasons, but sometimes for their own protection.
Thank you, Mr. Lotterby.
Now, you in fact volunteered to go on Rule 43, did you not, Mr. Dean?
Well, I didn't want to get a saying to, did I?
Oh, no. So you reported this incident in Mr. Lanigan's cell immediately?
Not straight away, no.
Well, when did you report it?
Well, it was about 2 weeks after, actually.
You're saying you were threatened and yet didn't volunteer to go on Rule 43 until 2 weeks later?
Well, I paid him, didn't I?
Now, as I understand it, if you make a request to go on Rule 43, you have to state your reasons to the governor, is that right?
Yeah.
Now, if along with those reasons you also supply certain information concerning serious breaches of prison regulations, the governor, with Home Office approval, is allowed to offer you certain indemnities.
I don't understand.
Well, I mean, Mr. Dean, that if the information you supply the authorities is serious enough, they will not only offer you protection, but they can, if they so wish, give you remission on your sentence. And I put it to you, Mr. Dean, that this was your sole motive for making these allegations against Mr. Lanigan.
No, that ain't right, no.
I put it to you, Mr. Dean, that this whole story of yours is a fabrication concocted for purely selfish and malicious reasons.
I call Mr. Malcolm Lowe.
Malcolm James Lowe, please.
What is your religion?
Roman Catholic.
Take the testament in your right hand and read aloud the words on the card.
I swear by Almighty God that the evidence I shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
You are Malcolm James Lowe, and you are an assistant governor at Parkmore?
Yes.
How long have you been an assistant governor, Mr.
Nearly
Lowe?
18 months.
As I understand it, although your title implies a rather high position in the administrative hierarchy, it is in fact one of traineeship.
Yes, in a sense, but only in the same way that a barrister is a junior counsel before taking silk.
Quite. One is a novice, so to speak. One has to learn the ropes of one's profession.
Of course.
Now, you joined the prison service after 10 years as a senior probation officer. But even with this background, you were, in effect, green about the practical aspects of prisons and how they function.
Mr. Harvester.
My lord, I'm simply establishing Mr. Lowe's experience and explaining the position which he now occupies. Now, you had been in charge, albeit in a titular sense, of B Wing in Parkmore for something like 6 months at the time the defendants were charged?
Yes.
And both defendants were in B Wing?
Yes.
One as an officer and the other as an inmate during this
Yes.
time? Also, in fact, for some time before you took charge of B Wing?
Yes.
Would you say that you'd got to know them well during that time?
As well as one can on a wing which contains over 400 inmates and something like 30 officers, only a minority of whom are on regular duty in the wing.
Presumably, then, you got to know the regular officers a little better.
Naturally.
And the defendant, Ager, he was a regular officer on B Wing?
Most of the time, yes.
What was his main job?
He was the landing officer on B3, one of 2 regulars.
The landings, or tiers, if you prefer, members of the jury, are numbered, so that B3 is the third tier on B wing. I believe that the defendant Lanigan was also housed in a cell in B3.
Yes, he was. His cell was number...
He's, of course, been moved to a different part of the prison since then, my lord. So, Mr. Lowe, would it have been a simple matter for both defendants to conduct the sort of transactions that they stand accused of?
If you mean did they have access to each other and opportunity, yes.
That is indeed what I mean. Thank you, Mr. Lowe.
It has been suggested by the previous witness, Mr. Dean, that Mr. Lanigan was involved in various dubious enterprises in Parkmoor. Did you know anything of that while you were in charge of B Wing, Mr. Lowe?
There was some evidence, or I should say indication of it, yes.
What sort of indication, Mr. Lowe?
Well, nothing really substantive. One or two of Lanigan's friends had been disciplined for having betting slips in their possession, and there were the usual rumours and conjecture concerning contraband, but nothing that one could act on.
These rumours were conjecture.
Yes, my lord.
We are interested here only in facts, not conjecture.
My lord. Mr. Lowe, are you saying the authorities know illegal and corrupt practices exist in Parkmoor?
It would be naive of anyone to think otherwise. After all, corruption has been known to exist in the most respectable of institutions, let alone in a prison which houses something like 1,600 convicted felons.
But this was the first time you'd heard allegations of this kind mentioned against the two accused. Well, was it or was it not, Mr. Lowe?
No, I had heard similar allegations before.
And you didn't act upon them?
I made inquiries and spoke to the parties concerned, my lord. It's always been my policy to check these things, but prisons are like insular villages. Rumours rarely have basis in fact.
I find this very disturbing, Mr. Lowe. Are you saying that you had intimations that corruption existed between the two defendants before you approached them about it?
There was no evidence for me to proceed on, my lord.
And what happened on the first occasion that you approached them?
They denied it.
And it ended there?
More or less.
How many times you say these allegations were made against the accused, prior to the ones you did act upon, Mr. Lowe?
Twice in a positive way.
Twice. 3 in all. And yet it wasn't until the third occasion you proceeded to do something about it.
Yes.
Well, if I have it right, Mr. Lowe, you had no more evidence then than you had on the other 2 occasions. So why act on the third occasion?
Well, I'd been on the wing a lot longer by then, and the fact is I'd been given information by Dean before, which had subsequently proved to be reliable.
Tell me, Mr. Lowe, how often is a prisoner searched?
Quite regularly. That is, they get what we call a rub down when they leave the cells, leave the workshops each day, just a sort of hands over clothes. The average inmate's cell is searched very regularly at approximately fortnightly intervals. But this varies, of course, for obvious reasons.
You mean there'd be little point if an inmate knew when he was going to be searched?
Of course.
So, Mr. Lanigan's cell was searched about once a fortnight?
No, his, along with a few others, was searched more frequently.
Oh, is there any special reason for that?
He's what we call a Category A prisoner. Prisoners are placed in categories ranging from A to D, my lord. A men, as they're called, are considered to be top security risks.
Was Lanigan ever found to be in possession of unauthorized articles?
Once or twice, a little more tobacco than he should have had on one occasion. An inmate is not allowed to have more than 2 ounces in his possession at any one time. And I believe the other occasion dealt with some rather risque magazines. He was disciplined for these offences.
But he was never found to have any goods specifically banned by the Home Office?
No.
I mean, it's quite common for prisoners to have certain amounts of extra tobacco on them. It's a simple breach of discipline, is it not?
That's correct.
Thank you, Mr. Lowe.
Mr. Lowe, I appear for Mr. Ager, and I should like to ask you 1 or 2 questions. Now, although you appear as a prosecution witness, I get the impression that you're a reluctant one, am I right?
It's not an experience I find particularly appealing, I must admit.
Because you find it discomforting, embarrassing?
Discomforting, yes.
But not embarrassing?
Not personally.
And in a professional sense, then, because you are, after all, the representative of a Magistrates' Prison, Parkmoor?
Something like that.
And because in recent weeks Parkmoor has suffered adverse publicity over these allegations of corruption?
Yes, I think these allegations have been sensationalized and distorted out of all proportion to the actual situation.
So a case like this causes certain ramifications?
Yes.
Personal ones?
No, for the prison service as a whole.
So it's bad for the image, then?
Not quite. What I mean is that any so-called dramatic incident concerning prisons, escapes, riots, hunger strikes, etc., always seem to create the wrong reactions. And it's not the prison service that suffers so much as the inmates themselves. Things get tightened up. This causes more tension and discontent. It's hard enough trying to keep men halfway human in a system which relies on antiquated ideas and gross overcrowding without aggravating the situation in this way. It's bad enough that people outside resent the more progressive innovations, rare though they be.
You are not suggesting, are you, Mr. Lowe, that serious criminal allegations of the kind we're dealing with here should be ignored, or if they exist, condoned?
No, my lord. I just feel that perhaps they could be dealt with in another way.
Fortunately, that is not for you to decide. This courtroom is not a forum for the exposition of penal reform. We're here to listen to and assess the evidence in this case alone. Very good, Mr. Dealey, but to the point, please.
My lord, if I may return to the issues his lordship pursued earlier, Mr. Lowe. Now, apart from the information the Dean had given you and the fact that there was no direct evidence to proceed on, were there any other reasons why you felt it was not necessary for you to act before you did?
Yes, well, as I said, I'd been on B-Wing a lot longer by then and had got to know most of the regular officers quite well, and some of the inmates, including Lanigan, and my impression of Mr. Ager was very favourable. He's an excellent officer with an unblemished record. He's efficient, intelligent, generous, and above all, responsive to the needs of the inmates. I mean in the psychological sense, of course. He has a number of qualities which are not easy to find among the older staff at Parkmoor, and indeed among the majority of prison officers.
In short, he was not the sort of man to become involved in anything corrupt.
Not in my opinion, no.
Now, when you said that Mr. Ager was a generous man, what did you mean by that exactly?
Simply that he went out of his way to see that the prisoners were dealt with humanely. For example, on the association period, he'd sit and play chess or say drafts with one or two of them, perhaps offer them a cigarette.
Is that allowed, offering inmates cigarettes?
Not really, not strictly to the book, as it were, but the odd cigarette did no harm. Quite the reverse in that sort of context. Anything that improves relations between staff and inmates is a move in the right direction. Unless, of course, it's a flagrant breach of prison regulations.
Some people might think that Mr. Ager is too soft for the job of prison warden. They might think that he was a generous man and therefore could be taken advantage of by the more unscrupulous elements inside the prison. Would you agree with that?
Up to a point, I suppose I would have to. There's no denying that generous people do get taken advantage of from time to time.
Thank you, Mr. Lowe.
I've no re-examination, my lord.
Very well, you may leave the witness box, Mr. Lowe.
I now call Detective Inspector Barber, my lord.
Detective Inspector Barber, please.
I swear by Almighty God that the evidence I shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. John James Barber, Detective Inspector, CID, Fulchester.
Inspector Barber, you've had charge of the investigation in this case.
I have.
Did you, in the course of your investigation, interview Robert Ager?
I did.
Would you tell the court then, please, briefly, what happened?
I saw the accused, Robert Ager, and I told him of the charges. I first cautioned him, and I asked him if he could tell me...
Where was all this taking place?
I'm sorry, my lord. On the morning of the 22nd of November at 7 a.m. at the gatehouse of Parkmoor Prison.
Thank you.
At first, he said he didn't know what I was talking about. I requested his permission to search him. He was reluctant at first, but finally agreed. I found nothing incriminating on his person. But in a small case he carried, I found 50 cigarettes, a full bottle of Scotch whisky, and 2 pornographic magazines.
What happened then, Inspector?
I asked him if he could explain the presence of these articles. He said that he could. I asked him if he'd care to make a written statement. He said, not at this time, just a verbal one.
And the essence of that verbal statement, Inspector?
In essence, he admitted that the goods he was taking into the prison were for an inmate.
Yes, and that was?
The other defendant, George Lanigan.
The case of the Queen versus Lanigan and Ager will be resumed tomorrow in the Crown Court.
At this juncture,
The trial began yesterday in Fulchester Crown Court of Robert Ager, a prison officer at Parkmoor, and George Lanigan, an inmate of that prison. Lanigan is charged with bribing Ager to smuggle forbidden goods into the prison. Another inmate of Parkmore Prison, Frederick Dean, yesterday claimed in the witness box that he was actually in Lanigan's cell at the time that Lanigan was handed a parcel by prison officer Ager. Mr. Charles Lotterby is defending Lanigan, and he suggested that Dean's evidence was motivated only by the desire to gain a remission on his sentence. Mr. Stephen Harvesty, the prosecuting counsel, called two other witnesses. Firstly, Mr. Malcolm Lowe, the assistant governor of Parkmore Prison. Mr. Justice Campbell was visibly alarmed when Lowe revealed that he initially discounted the rumours of corruption because he felt that Ager was an excellent prison officer incapable of any misconduct. The last witness to be heard was Inspector Barber, who led the police investigation. Inspector Barber had begun to describe his confrontation with Ager in the gatehouse at Parkmore Prison.
Now, let's get this perfectly clear then, Inspector Barber. You're saying that when you challenged the defendant Ager, he made a verbal statement admitting that he, a prison officer, was taking those prohibited articles into the prison for the co-accused George Lanigan.
Yes, that's right.
50 cigarettes, bottle of whiskey and 2 pornographic magazines?
Yes.
Had it been possible to smuggle in a woman too, he could have supplied the complete orgy.
That is a comment, Mr. Harvesty.
Yes, my lord. Inspector, when were you first brought in to investigate these charges of corruption?
About 7 weeks before I actually confronted and then arrested the accused.
Was there any special reason why you didn't confront them before that?
Or just the usual investigative reasons of discretion.
Yes.
In a case like this, where there's no immediate evidence available, we have to examine things very carefully before taking any positive action regarding arrests.
It's like discussing matters with the governor and interviewing potential witnesses like Mr. Lowe and Mr. Dean.
Yes, gathering what information we could and then going on from there.
Where did you go from there, Inspector?
I kept a close watch on Ager in the main, and as a result of my observations, I discovered that he'd made a number of visits to the flat of a known prostitute called Angela Mercer.
Miss Mercer is being called, my lord. Go on, Inspector.
As a result of further observations, I discovered that Angela Mercer was the friend and associate of Rita Davy, the common-law wife of Lanigan. I saw them together in a club. I saw Rita Davy pass some money to Angela Mercer.
When did Ager make visits to Miss Mercer?
I was on duty on the 12th of October with Constable Stevens. We were keeping observation on Ager's house. He came out, and we followed him. He went to Miss Mercer's flat, arriving at about 8:47 p.m. He left at 9:15 p.m. and went straight home.
So he was in the flat with Miss Mercer for about 28 minutes?
Yes.
Did Ager visit her on other occasions?
Yes.
Were you able to keep tags on Miss Mercer's communications with other people?
We monitored the telephone and recorded a number of telephone conversations, in the main between Rita Davy and Miss Mercer.
Ah, yes. You say now that you saw Miss Mercer with Rita Davy in a club. When was that and where?
That was in the Sands on the 13th of October.
Yes.
And that's when I saw Miss Davy pass the money to Miss Mercer.
Could you tell how much?
I'm afraid not, sir. A number of £5 notes, about 20 or 30 pounds at a guess.
So you saw Ager visit Miss Mercer on the 12th of October, and on the 13th of October, Rita Davy gave Miss Mercer 20 or 30 pounds.
Yes.
Did you ever see the accused Ager in the company of Miss Davy?
Just the once, sir. He was coming home from the prison early one day. He was seen to get into Miss Davy's car, and she drove him home.
Thank you, Inspector.
Mr. Lotterby?
Just one point, Inspector. Did my client, Mr. Lanigan, make a statement, verbal or otherwise, admitting corruptly inducing Mr. Ager to show him favour?
He wouldn't even talk to me or any of my officers. He just refused to cooperate.
And by not cooperating, you mean he stood on his legal right not to answer your questions?
Yes, but
Thank you, Inspector.
Inspector, you say that my client made a verbal statement admitting that he'd been taking contraband goods into Parkmore for the accused Lanigan.
Yes.
But not a formal written and signed statement.
No.
Did he at any time during the interrogation, or indeed on any subsequent occasion, admit that he had received monetary payment for bringing contraband goods into Lanigan?
No, he denied that completely.
So it is fair to say, is it not, Inspector, that there is no direct evidence whatsoever that my client received any kind of reward as an inducement for showing favour to George Lanigan?
Nothing direct, but
That's
there were
all, Inspector.
indications
No further questions. Thank you.
You may stand down now, Inspector.
For my next witness, my lord, I call Miss Angela Mercer.
Angela Mercer, please.
What is your religion?
Church of England.
Take the testament in your right hand and read aloud the words on the card.
I swear by Almighty God that the evidence I shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Your name is Angela Mercer, And you live at number 12 Blackthorn Court W1. What's your occupation?
I'm a model.
You also practice another profession, I believe, Miss Mercer.
What might that be?
Oh, come now, Miss Mercer.
Well, I have been nicked a couple of times for soliciting, but then a girl's got to do something to keep body and soul together, hasn't she, sweetie?
This is not a music hall, Miss Mercer, and you will address counsel with the respect befitting a court of law and not with dubious endearments.
Just trying to be friendly, Your Honour.
Do you know Robert Ager?
Intimately, my dear, intimately.
Silence. And I am warning you, Miss Mercer, any more of this frivolous behaviour, and I shall have to punish you for contempt.
Just answering the question, Your Honour.
Yeah. Carry on, Mr. Harvester.
When you say intimately, Miss Mercer, you mean sexually intimate? With both the accused?
Oh, no, not George.
George, you mean Lanigan?
Well, who else? No, him and me were just good friends. But Bob, what's his name?
Mr. Ager?
Yeah. Well, he was more a client, so to speak.
A client being someone who comes to you for sexual favours.
Well, that's one way of putting it, I suppose.
How did you first come to meet Mr. Ager?
Well, he rang me up.
Yeah, just like that, out of the blue?
Yeah.
But how did he come by your telephone number?
Well, I do advertise my availability as a model. I suppose he saw the number somewhere.
Think carefully, Miss Mercer. Did he ever tell you how he had obtained your telephone number?
No, he didn't.
And you never asked?
No, why should I?
When did you first hear of George Lanigan?
Well, when the police came round about all this.
My lord, your lordship will have seen the depositions. I ask leave, in the circumstances, to be allowed to treat this witness as hostile.
Mr. Lotterby?
Lord, in my submission, the witness has not shown hostile demeanour.
Mr. Dealey?
I agree with Mr. Lotterby, my lord.
I think Mr. Harvester's application is justified. You may treat Miss Mercer as hostile, Mr. Harvester.
Thank you, my lord. May she be shown the deposition? Do you see the signature at the bottom of that document? Is that yours?
Oh, yes, it is.
Did you read the statement before you signed it?
Yes, I did.
In the statement you say, Ager told me he'd been given my number by George Lanigan. That's what you said, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, I had to, you see.
Had to?
You see, Inspector Barber had a few of his mates from the Vice Squad call on me, and they said if I didn't play ball with Inspector Barber, they'd see to it that I was nicked for soliciting. And what's more, they'd see to it that I lost my flat and everything. You know, harass me in general.
That is a very serious allegation, Miss Mercer.
Well, I don't know about that, Your Honour. I'm just telling you why I said what I did in the statement.
What has made you change your mind here?
Well, you see, I'm thinking of giving up the game. Only I met this bloke...
Never mind about that. Are you saying now that it was not Lanigan who gave Ager your number?
Yes, Your Honour.
Well, I can only hope that you are speaking the truth this time, Miss Mercer.
Oh, I am, sir. Definitely.
Very well.
My lord, I should like to assist Miss Mercer's memory by letting her hear again a telephone conversation which was recorded on the 13th of October. It's one of the tape recordings mentioned by Inspector Barber, my lord.
I have no objections, my lord.
No objections, my lord.
No objections, Your Honour.
I presume you want them heard, Mr. Harvester?
Yes, I do indeed, my lord.
Very well.
Members of the jury, you'll remember that the inspector testified that Ager visited Miss Mercer on the night of the 12th of October. This telephone recording was made the following day. Please.
Hello? Angela? Rita?
Oh, hello, love.
Did I wake you up?
It's all right, though.
Busy night?
Ended up with a right freak.
I don't know how you stand it.
Oh, it's a living. Here. I had someone from the Nick. He said your George had given him my number.
Oh, who was it?
Bob. Bob Ager, a prison officer.
What do you want?
Nothing fancy. Just straightforward mums and dads.
You know what I mean.
I told him anything for a friend of George's.
That was your voice, wasn't it, Miss Mercer?
Yes, it was.
Talking to Rita Davy. And it's plain, isn't it, that Ager got your telephone number from George Lanigan. Miss Mercer, you are a friend, a close friend of Lanigan and his common-law wife, Miss Davy, are you not?
Yes, I am.
Very good friends. In fact, you frequently meet Miss Davy socially at a club in Fulchester called the Sands.
Yeah, well, Rita works there, actually.
Yet Inspector Barber has testified that he saw Miss Davy hand you money in this club. Why should she give you money?
Well, she owed it to me.
How much?
30 quid.
Well, that isn't what you said in your previous statement, Miss Mercer. On that occasion, you said, and I quote, "It was for services rendered." What services?
But I've already told you I was lying then.
I put it to you that that money was payment for giving your services as a professional prostitute to Ager as an inducement to him to show favour to Lanigan.
Put it how you like, love, it wasn't.
Then let me refresh your memory, Miss Mercer, of yet another telephone conversation recorded on November the 21st. It was the morning following this conversation, members of the jury, that the inspector confronted Ager and found him to be in possession of those prohibited articles. If you please.
Angela?
That you, Rita?
Yeah, not busy, are you?
No, just got rid of my last client.
Oh, I'm just ringing up to say I'm not coming down the club tonight. I'm having a night off.
Oh, all right, love. Should have a night off myself, really. Oh, by the way, George's friend from the knit was round this evening. You'll never guess.
What?
He wanted to pay me again.
No.
Yeah, really.
Did you let him?
I couldn't refuse, love, he insisted.
But didn't you tell him?
Sure I did, but it didn't make any difference.
Well, you may as well give me back that money I've given you.
Oh, no, dearie. That was for services rendered.
All right, call it a bonus. If he's silly enough to come across, that's his fault.
Oh, I gave him that gear for George.
Okay. See you later, then.
All right, love. Oh, and tell George when you see him next. I hope he enjoyed the art magazines.
Art? Oh, yeah. Well, he's got to have something to compensate, poor soul, doesn't he?
If I know George would be renting them out to all the pervs.
More than likely. See you then.
Okay, love.
Oh, no, dearie, that was for services rendered. All right, call it a bonus. If he's silly enough to come across, that's his fault. The fact is that Miss Davy had paid you for Ager's visits, and Miss Davy meant that she would again pay you for your professional services to Ager. She was, in fact, acting as Lanigan's agent in the corruption of this prison officer. Isn't that true?
Think what you like, she wasn't.
I gave him that gear for George, you said.
Yes, but you see, he was doing it as a favour because George was a friend of mine. Of course, you left out the part where he wanted to pay me. Now, why should he want to do that if he could have had it for nothing?
How long have you been living with Mr. Lanigan, Miss Davy?
Nearly 7 years, not including the time he's been in prison, that is.
Is there any reason why you and he haven't married?
Yes, George is already married and his wife won't agree to a divorce.
Otherwise you would have married each other?
Yes.
Are you in love with each other?
Yes, we are.
Like any wife who's in love with her husband, you do all you could to help him through difficult times.
Yes.
Now, you've heard the taped telephone conversations between yourself and Miss Mercer. Do you accept that it is your voice we've heard and that these conversations actually took place?
Yes.
Would you tell the court when you first became acquainted with the accused, Mr. Ager?
Well, it was through Angela.
Miss Mercer?
She rang me up one day and said that she got this client, you know, and that he was a prison officer at Parkmoor. Then she told me that she'd asked him if he knew George, and he'd said yes. In fact, he was his landing officer, I think it was, and that he'd actually got her phone number from George. Well, I can't remember which one of us mentioned it first, but we both thought it would be nice if we could ask this Mr. Ager to take some things in for George. Nothing dangerous, like, say, hacksaw blades or weapons or anything like that. Just little luxuries, you know, to make life easier.
Did Mr. Lanigan at any time ask you to make these approaches to Mr. Ager?
Oh, no, it was strictly down to me and Angela.
Did you at any time offer Mr. Ager money or any other inducement to show Mr. Lanigan these favours?
No.
You're sure about that?
Oh, absolutely.
Did Mr. Ager at any time ask you for payment of any kind?
No.
Did you at any time pay Angela Mercer in money or kind for this arrangement with Mr. Ager?
No, Angela's our friend. She'd be insulted if you offered her money for that sort of thing.
Thank you, Miss Davy.
Miss Davy, you've stated that you are employed as a hostess at a nightclub in Fulchester called The Sands.
Yes.
The name hostess in this particular context and in that kind of nightclub carries with it certain connotations, does it not?
Now, what's that supposed to mean?
Well, it means that you earn your living by entertaining men in a very personal way. You dine with them, accept drinks from them, Money even, isn't that so?
If you're trying to imply that I'm a prostitute, you've got a nasty, dirty mind.
I'm not trying to imply any such thing, Miss Davy. But you are the close friend of a self-confessed prostitute, and you live with a known professional thief.
That doesn't mean that I'm either. And they're just as good as the so-called respectable businessmen I have to entertain, who, I might add, include barristers.
Indeed. But you do earn quite a good living from your occupation.
I work for it.
Oh, I've no doubt about that. What do you think your average weekly earnings are?
None of your business.
Is this relevant, Mr. Harvester?
I think you'll find it so, my lord.
Very well. Answer counsel's question, please, Miss Davy.
About £45 a week.
Why did you owe Miss Mercer £30?
What?
Why did you owe Miss Mercer £30? The money which was handed to her in the club.
Oh, yeah, I'd borrowed it from her. I was paying her back.
Yes, we've been told that, but why did you, a person of quite adequate means by most people's standards, why did you need to borrow a mere £30 from Miss Mercer?
It was for a hi-fi set. I had the chance of getting one cost, and I didn't have quite enough. It was cash, you see, so Angela lent me the extra. I paid her back one night at the club.
Oh, is that what you meant when you said in your telephone conversation with her that you'd see her all right, call it a bonus?
No, it just meant I'd buy her a drink. It was just an expression I used, see?
Really?
Yeah, I told you, Angela wouldn't accept money from me for...
For what, Miss Davy?
Well, helping George, you know.
Then you did give her money, then?
No.
But you did give it to her to give to Agar?
No, I didn't.
How often? How often did you meet with Mr. Agar?
Oh, I don't know what you mean.
You did meet him on occasions, didn't you?
I only ever met him twice. Once when Angela brought him down the club, and another time when I met him outside the prison. I'd been visiting George and I bumped into Agar on the way out, gave him a lift home.
Twice, I see. So it was on the basis of these two chance meetings that you were able to assess that Agar was a man who felt sorry for his charges and that his illicit activities were simply his way of helping them through their sentences.
In the sort of job I've got, you learn to weigh up people pretty quickly.
What did you talk about on the occasions that you and he met?
Just about George, how he was getting on, that sort of thing.
Surely you can find that out for yourself when you visited the prison.
No, not really. If you're close to someone like George and I are, you're apt to make light of things, pretend things are better than they are so that the other won't worry.
On those visits to Lanigan, I take it you discussed the arrangement you had with Agar.
Yeah.
What was Lanigan's response?
He wasn't too keen on it. He didn't want me to get into any trouble.
You mean he told you not to do it?
No, not exactly. He just told me to be careful.
Are you saying then that he accepted these gifts from Agar reluctantly?
Well, no, he just didn't want me to get into any trouble.
I see. So in short, what you're asking the jury to believe is that, far from there being any corruption intended, this entire arrangement with Agar and Miss Mercer was simply an act of benevolence, so that your friend Lanigan could get through the rest of his sentence without too much deprivation.
Yeah, I suppose that's meant to be sarcastic, but yes, that's the way it was.
No questions, my lord.
I have no re-examination, my lord.
You may step down, Miss Davy.
I call George Lanigan.
What is your religion?
Roman Catholic.
Take the testament in your right hand and read aloud the words on the card.
I swear by Almighty God that the evidence I shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Your name is George Lanigan, and you are presently in Parkmore Prison serving a sentence of 6 years for robbery.
Yes?
Of which you served nearly 12 months.
Yes.
Now, you've heard the testimony of the witness, Mr. Dean. Is there any truth in his allegation that he was in your cell and that he saw Mr. Agar hand you over a parcel of contraband goods?
None whatsoever. He's a liar and a grass.
You mean he's an informer?
Yes. Scum as far as other prisoners are concerned.
Was he ever in your cell?
No. I wouldn't have filth like that in my toilet as part of the waste.
Lanigan, immoderate language will not assist you. Lanigan. Go on, Mr. Lotterby.
So at no time did Dean ever see you or Mr. Agar conducting any kind of illicit transaction in your cell?
Is there any point to this, Mr. Lotterby? It's already been established that Agar did take goods in for Lanigan and that he accepted them.
Indeed, my lord, but the implications of Dean's testimony went deeper than that. Now, if Dean is to be believed on this one point, there's no reason why the jury shouldn't accept the rest of his testimony.
Oh, I think we can safely leave it to the jury to assess the veracity of Dean's evidence, Mr. Lotterby.
As you say, my lord. Mr. Lanigan, have you any convictions for violence?
No.
Have you ever threatened Mr. Dean with violence?
Definitely not.
Now, you do not deny that Mr. Ager did from time to time bring you in various articles of the kind mentioned here today?
No.
Did you encourage this?
No, but I didn't exactly discourage it either.
Did you at any time offer him money or any other inducement for this service?
No, he did it because he wanted to. Naturally, I wasn't complaining.
Did you give him Miss Mercer's telephone number?
No. What was said on that tape recording was wrong. He went to her as a client, and the first I knew of any arrangement was when Mr. Ager bought me some gear one day.
What is your opinion of Mr. Ager as a prison officer?
I won't pretend that prison officers are my favourite kind of people, quite the reverse. But there are exceptions, a few, and Mr. Ager's one of them. Not because he did me a few favours, but because he treats prisoners as human beings, allows them a little dignity. Most prison officers go out of their way to inflict as many petty restrictions and indignities that they possibly can on prisoners. It's what they call rehabilitation.
Thank you, Mr. Lanigan.
Mr. Lanigan, it isn't only the testimony of Dean that we have to consider here, but also that of the Assistant Governor, Mr. Lowe. He also said that corruption is known to exist in Parkmoor. He said, too, that you'd been disciplined for being in possession of illicit articles and that you were subjected to more searches than most prisoners because of your reputation.
My lord, if I may remind my learned friend, Mr. Lowe also said that there was no evidence of corruption between Mr. Ager and my client.
Yes, that is so, Mr. Lotterby. You do seem to be straying into an area of conjecture, Mr. Harvestead.
My lord. Mr. Lanigan, did you or did you not run a bookmaking enterprise in Parkmoor?
For a time, yes.
And that is contrary to prison regulations?
Yes, but nobody bothers about it.
Did you or did you not accept goods from Ager knowingly, knowing that they were illicit and not permitted to you, contrary to prison regulations?
Yes, I've said this before.
Were you or were you not aware that Miss Mercer and your friend, Miss Davy, were conspiring with Ager to have those goods brought in for you?
Sure, but I...
Just answer yes or no, Mr. Lanigan.
Yes.
And you didn't discourage it, did you?
No.
In fact, you actively encouraged it.
No.
Mr. Lanigan, I do not propose to put it to you that you're a liar.
Good.
Or that you arranged this whole sordid affair with Ager.
Well,
the very fact that you're prepared to stand there under oath and deny the obvious is proof enough.
There is no proof that I arranged anything.
Isn't there, Mr. Lanigan? We shall see.
Mr. Lanigan, both you and Miss Davy have testified that Mr. Ager is a liberal, humane man and not given to petty tyranny.
Yes?
Yes, and indeed this assessment of Mr. Ager was supported by Mr. Lowe, the Assistant Governor at Parkmoor. In fact, he went on to say that he didn't believe that Mr. Ager was the sort of man to become involved in anything corrupt. Now, you heard him say that.
Yes, and I agree.
Yes, I thought you would. And I intend to prove that that is true, Mr. Lanigan. But not on your assessment of Mr. Ager. No, Mr. Lanigan, I intend to show that these remarks of yours about the respect you have for Mr. Ager are a gigantic charade, because you know that he did what he did under the greatest possible duress. In fact, Mr. Lanigan, I intend to show that he was nothing but the victim of your threats of violence and blackmail.
The case of the Queen versus Lanigan and Ager will be resumed tomorrow in the Crown Court. In Fulchester Crown Court, it was revealed yesterday that Robert Ager, a prison officer employed at Parkmoor, was caught smuggling a quantity of forbidden articles into the prison. The prosecution claimed that Ager took these goods into the prison for George Lanigan, an inmate, who faces a charge of bribing a prison officer. Ager's wife, who's been in the public gallery throughout the trial, has heard tape-recorded telephone conversations between Angela Mercer, a prostitute, and her friend Rita Davy. Rita Davy is the common-law wife of Lanigan, and the tape-recorded evidence suggests that Miss Davy paid for Ager's visit to the prostitute Angela Mercer. But Miss Davy maintained that Ager took the goods into prison purely as a favour and because he was a nice person. Mr. Barry Dealey, Ager's counsel, states that his client was a victim of Lanigan's threats of violence and blackmail.
How long have you been a prison officer, Mr. Ager?
For nearly 12 years, sir.
And what did you do before that?
I was a regular soldier for 9 years.
And what is your present domestic situation?
I'm married, have been for over 20 years, and I've got 2 teenage children, a boy and a girl, sir.
Happily married?
We have been, yes, sir.
And since you've been in the prison service, you've lived in prison quarters?
Up until now, yes, sir.
Could you tell the court why you joined the prison service?
Well, there was a security, sir, chance of doing a worthwhile job, and thought I might be able to do something positive.
And by positive, you mean help the inmates?
If I could, yes, sir. But only in my own small way, you understand?
Well, for example, Mr. Ager?
Well, helping the illiterate prisoners to write letters home, sir. Maybe doing the odd favour here and there. And persuading some of the prisoners to do something more positive with their time. Nothing special. It was all part of the job as I saw it, sir. I make no claim to being out of the ordinary.
So that is how you saw your function, and that is how you carried it out?
As far as I could, yes, sir.
And as I understand, that isn't easy in a system that isn't renowned for its more progressive qualities. I mean, there must have been many among your colleagues who didn't agree with your treatment of the prisoners. They may have seen you as soft, an easy target for the less reputable among your charges.
Yes, I suppose that's true, sir. But it's not easy, sir, to avoid cynicism and indifference because conditions are very bad in most prisons.
Yes, indeed. Now, could you tell the court how you first became involved with George Lanigan?
Well, I was his landing officer, sir. You get to know men on your own landing far better than the other inmates because you have more contact with them. He seemed a good enough prisoner. He never caused any trouble. And he's more intelligent than most. I realise what we call... he's a professional criminal, sir, but I'd read his record, but... well, I believe there's good in everyone if they're given a chance to show it, sir. Well, I used to read, and so did he, and we used to chat quite a lot about books and writers, that sort of thing. And that was the level of our relationship for quite a few months, sir.
Go on, Mr. Ager.
Well, one day, during the association period it was, well, we were talking about family life, sir, and somehow, I don't know why, but...
Please continue.
Well, that as we started discussing of prisoners being deprived of women, you know, well, I believe, you see, that long-term prisoners should be allowed conjugal visits with their wives, you see.
Yes?
Well, I don't know why, but I started telling him about my wife. Well, she'd been ill for some time, you see, and... well, women trouble, you know.
And does that affect the physical side of your marriage?
Yes, sir. It's been over 2 years now since my wife and I were able to sleep together.
Did you tell Lanigan that?
Yes, I did. I wanted him to know that I understood the strain and tension it could cause.
Yes?
Well, well, that is, he suggested there was no reason why I shouldn't... well, he said that he had his girlfriend... be very discreet. He could fix it up for me to see her.
Go on, Mr. Lanigan.
Well, a few days later, his wife had paid him a visit in the meantime. I was on the landing, and he gave me this telephone number. It was Miss Angela Mercer's.
And you rang her up, and you went to see her?
Yes, sir.
Did you see her again?
Yes, a couple of times, before Lanigan approached me, sir.
Approached you? About what?
About doing him a little favour, he called it.
Yes?
Well, I asked him what he meant by a little favour, and the long and short of it was he wanted me to smuggle some stuff into the prison for him, sir. And he said if I didn't, my wife would get to know about Miss Mercer.
And how did you react to that?
Well, I was stunned, sir. I didn't know what to do. Well, I refused, of course. I tried to reason with him, and he just laughed, and there was nothing I could do, sir.
Go on, Mr. Ager.
Well, my wife had been very ill, you see. She's a very highly strung woman, and, well, I knew the shock. We're very close, you see, sir.
And so you did what he asked?
Well, no, not entirely, sir, because there were other things besides cigarettes and that.
Like what?
Well, after I'd taken him stuff for a while, he said he wanted some keys made, some prison keys for an escape.
He wanted to escape?
Oh, no, not him, sir. He said he could do his little bit of bird all right, as long as he had me to look after him. No, the keys were for friends of his, long-term prisoners at Parkmoor. Dangerous men. Well, I refused, absolutely. And then he said my wife would get to know about Miss Mercer again, and he said as I'd already compromised myself, The governor would get to know about it. I'd lose my job, my pension, everything. But this was a serious matter, sir. Nothing would make me facilitate an escape. I was quite adamant about that.
This is rubbish. He's lying.
Sit down, Lanigan.
But look, I didn't threaten him. I wouldn't have to
Lanigan,
threaten him.
if you don't stop, I shall have you removed to the cells. Now control yourself. That's better. You may continue, Mr. Deedy.
My lord, you were saying that you were adamant in your refusal, Mr. Ager.
Yes, I was, and he could see that. He left it at that, so he didn't mention it again.
Why do you think that was?
Well, I don't suppose he wanted to jeopardize what he already had going for himself.
And so you simply continued to bring him cigarettes, etc., because of the hopeless position that he'd placed you in?
Yes, sir.
Now, we have heard in a recorded telephone conversation between Miss Mercer and Miss Davy that you paid for Miss Mercer's services. Now, why was that?
Well, because I wanted to, sir. Because I'd been forced to smuggle stuff into prison for him. Didn't mean I had to accept bribes as well.
Yes, indeed. Indication enough, one would think, that you were not party to a corruption. Thank you, Mr. Ager.
Mr. Ager, being a prison officer of some considerable experience, you must have some knowledge of the law and how it relates to crime.
Well, I suppose so, yes, sir.
Why then didn't you go straight to the police or even to the governor as soon as Lanigan threatened to expose you?
Well, as I've already explained, my wife was ill.
Yes, but you know what blackmail is, Mr. Ager. You know that you hadn't committed any crimes at that point that you could be punished for. The law is discreet in these matters. It's there to protect you. You must have known that.
How? I mean, how could it protect me? Couldn't stop Lanigan telling my wife, could it? I mean, all he had to do was send a letter.
What, from the prison? Surely all letters from the prison are subjected to censorship.
Well, it's not difficult to smuggle letters out of prison, sir.
Yes, even so. Lanigan may be many things, but I doubt that he's a fool. Did you really think that he would send your wife a letter?
Well, he didn't have to send it himself, did he, sir? I mean, anybody could write it. I mean, his friend, Angela Mercer, anyone.
What? Are you saying, then, that Miss Mercer and Miss Davy were also a party to this blackmail?
Well, no, I don't know. I just think they were being used by Lanigan.
Unwitting accomplices?
Yes, sir.
Yes. I commend your chivalry, Mr. Ager, but if we assume that what you say is true, you must be very naive indeed if you think that they didn't know what Lanigan would do if you didn't comply with his wishes.
Well, perhaps they did know. I mean, I don't... Well, Lanigan was the only one that made the threats.
Yes, but look, Mr. Ager. Miss Davy has been living with Lanigan for 7 years. It was she who supplied the prohibited articles you took in for her.
Yeah, well, perhaps she knew. All I know is we didn't mention it. We didn't discuss it.
Well, if you thought, then, that she didn't know, why didn't you ever mention it to her? Or come to that to Miss Mercer as well?
I don't know. They just seem pretty decent people.
Decent? That's a very strange definition of a prostitute and a woman who knowingly conspired with you to break the law, isn't it?
No, I didn't mean it like that. I mean, they were decent enough to me.
Don't you mean generous?
No, I don't.
No, because there's no truth in any of this that you're saying, is there, Mr. Ager?
Yes, there is.
Mr. Ager, I put it to you that you were a willing party in this arrangement with those two women, and that this last-minute attempt to suggest that you were blackmailed is simply a desperate attempt on your part to escape from your guilt.
No, it isn't. I swear it isn't.
Then perhaps you were so eager for her telephone number that was enough for you to betray the trust put in you.
No, that was afterwards. Afterwards, when he forced me.
Why then didn't you say all this when you made your statement to Inspector Barber?
Because at that time, I thought I could prevent my wife from finding out about it. I mean, all she knew was that I'd been suspended from duty for taking stuff into the prison.
But surely you knew that it would all come out in open court, with reporters present. And I presume that your wife was present in court when you were first committed for trial here?
Yes, of course.
My lord, nothing was said at this hearing. The depositions were simply handed in. Mrs. Ager would not have had any idea what was inside them.
Yes, I see, Mr. Deedy. Go on, Mr. Halstead.
My lord. And I believe your wife is present today.
Yes, sir.
Well, she knows about it now, doesn't she, Mr. Ager?
Yes, sir.
Yes, which rather invalidates your contention that you kept quiet about it simply to protect her, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, I thought I could protect her at the time. I was desperate. I wasn't thinking properly. I mean, all that was important to me was that my wife shouldn't find out about it.
But you must have known that it would be inevitable that she found out. You'd been arrested and charged.
Yeah, well, it's obvious now, but it wasn't at the time. I mean, it wasn't just my wife, it was my children. What would they think about it? And we were living in prison quarters as were neighbours, my wife's friends. I mean, she'd have to be the one to face him, and I mean, they wouldn't understand.
Indeed, Mr. Ager, and I'm sure I don't either. Because you see, there's something else that I find rather curious. Throughout this trial, my learned friend has been at great pains to elicit from the witnesses what a fine man you are. Kind, generous, humane, intelligent and efficient. They're just a few of the adjectives that used to describe you. And indeed, you yourself have modestly concurred with these descriptions. Isn't that so?
I don't understand, sir.
Don't you, Mr. Ager?
No, sir.
A man of integrity, a man of honesty. That's been the contention. How many times after Lanigan had, as you claim, threatened you, did you visit the prostitute, Miss Mercer, for her professional services? Well, Mr. Ager, how many times?
Don't understand.
You did visit her, though, after that, didn't you? Not just for the purpose of picking up Lanigan's parcel.
Yeah. Yes, I did, but...
But what, Mr. Ager? Oh, I have no more questions, Your Honour.
No further questions, my lord.
No questions, my lord, but...
Yes, Mr. Lotterby?
Well, I have received fresh instructions from my client, my lord.
Well?
Mr. Lanigan has decided to change his plea to guilty.
Very well, Mr. Lotterby. Let the charge be put again to Lanigan.
The prisoner will stand. George Lanigan, you are charged with bribery in that between about the 1st of October 1972 and the 21st of November 1972, you did bribe Robert Ager, a prison officer, to act in a manner contrary to his duty. How say you to this charge? Are you guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
Very well. You may sit down, Lanigan. Now, members of the jury, although it will be not an easy thing for you to do, I must instruct you to keep the two testimonies of the two accused entirely separate. And you must especially bear in mind that you cannot infer, simply from the fact that Lanigan has changed his plea to guilty, that either Ager is guilty or that he, Lanigan, accepts the allegation of bribery which was put to him. Now, Mr. Harvesty, if you please.
My lord. Members of the jury, I would suggest that the accused Ager might be gratified if he thought that what he's let us know of his marital life might evoke some feelings misplaced, I would suggest, of sympathy. I would only ask that you do not let such feelings obscure the facts in this case. Now, as to those facts, Ager doesn't apparently deny that he took into the prison various articles, which, as anyone can see, ought not to have been taken in. That is a breach of prison regulations, and for such a breach, Ager can, and will no doubt, be disqualified. But the offence with which he is charged is taking a bribe from George Lanigan to act in a manner contrary to his duty. So there being no dispute that he did act in such a manner, the only question is, did he do so because he was bribed? Now, in my submission, if you think that Ager acted as he did either in exchange for Miss Mercer's telephone number or in exchange for her services supplied free of charge, or for both those reasons, then the charge of bribery is proved. Well, what are the alternatives? Can you really believe those two women when they say that Ager paid for Miss Mercer's services? Or that they behaved as they did independently of any arrangement with Lanigan, who has now pleaded guilty? Can you really believe Ager's story, that he acted as he did not because he was bribed, but because he was blackmailed? Well, now, if he had been blackmailed, wouldn't he, when he made his statement to the inspector, wouldn't he have told him about it then? And if he was being blackmailed, wouldn't he have gone to the police? Of course, if the story he now tells were true, he would of course have done those things. And the fact that he didn't do them makes it quite plain in my submission that his story is a lie. And members of the jury, the only verdict you can reach is one of guilty.
Thank you, Mr. Harvester. Mr. Dealey.
As you have heard, members of the jury, what you have to decide is whether my client accepted a bribe to bring contraband goods into Parkmoor, or whether he was the victim of blackmail by George Lanigan. Now let us consider this alleged bribe first. Was Miss Mercer's telephone number a gift to corrupt Mr. Ager? Now you will remember that in the course of his duty, my client had cultivated what he thought to be a good and sound friendship with Lanigan. So at the time, he was naive enough to believe that Lanigan had no ulterior motive in giving him Miss Mercer's phone number. He thought that he was a friend who understood his marital problems and who happened to be in a position to help him. Mr. Ager, consequently, used the phone number and visited Miss Mercer. Now, I must add that whatever your personal opinions about the morality of such a visit, they must not prejudice your final decision. Members of the jury, to consider this sequence of events to be the result of bribery is not only illogical, but has no foundation based upon fact. That Mr. Ager accepted a bribe can be dismissed. Blackmail, however, is another matter. Now, on Mr. Ager's second visit to Miss Mercer, he discovers a parcel of goods for George Lanigan, and he foolishly decides to repay Lanigan's consideration in introducing him to Miss Mercer by delivering this parcel to Parkmoor. Now, having done this, George Lanigan has the incriminating evidence to blackmail my client. He threatens to expose him if he does not accede to his further demands. At this point, Mr. Ager realized his mistake and refused, but it was too late. This was crude blackmail and cannot be dismissed. It's my contention that Lanigan and Rita Davey planned the whole thing from the beginning. Where could Lanigan have got hold of Miss Mercer's phone number? From one person only, Miss Rita Davey, Miss Mercer's friend. And as we all know, Rita Davey was Lanigan's common-law wife. The defence cannot dispute Mr. Ager's contravention of prison regulations, but in my submission, members of the jury, he was the unfortunate victim of circumstances, and the charge of corruption is wholly unfounded. I trust, therefore, members of the jury, that you will find him not guilty of the charges against him.
Thank you, Mr. Dealey. Now, members of the jury, it is your duty to decide the facts in this case. It's my duty to decide the law, and you must be guided by me as to the law. As you know, the prosecution has to prove the charge beyond all reasonable doubt, and that is that Ager took a bribe from Lanigan to act in a manner contrary to his duty. Now, if you have any reasonable doubts as to the truth of that allegation and not really believe Ager's guilt, then your verdict must be one of not guilty. Now, the defence do not dispute the fact that Ager did in fact carry goods into the prison, which in itself is an act contrary to the duty of a prison officer. But they do dispute that he did it because he was in any way bribed. Therefore, members of the jury, the issue before you is this, as to whether or not Ager is guilty of accepting a bribe from Lanigan. That is the issue before you. But I must remind you also that although Lanigan changed his plea to guilty, his admission of guilt is no evidence against Ager, and I must ask you to disregard all thoughts of that when you direct your minds to the issue of Ager's guilt or innocence. And furthermore, you must approach Lanigan's evidence with great caution, for he is what we in law call an accomplice. That is, if you believe what Lanigan said in the box, then he is an accomplice of Ager's, and his evidence should be treated with a great deal of caution, and you should not act on it alone. Lastly, there is Ager's good character. Now, you've heard from Ager's superior, the assistant governor, of his virtues and his unblemished record as a prison officer, and you've also heard from the accused himself of his desire always to do something positive for the inmates of Parkmoor. Now, Ager's good character should be weighed in the balance in his favour. Well, members of the jury, will you now retire and consider your verdict?
All stand. The prisoners will stand. Members of the jury, will your foreman please stand? Just answer this question, yes or no. Have you reached a verdict upon which you are all agreed?
Yes.
Do you find the prisoner, Robert Ager, guilty or not guilty of taking a bribe to act in a manner contrary to his duty?
Not guilty. Robert Ager, you have been found not guilty of the charge against you. I hope that soon you will be able to put the events of these last few days completely behind you and continue in your work with the same enthusiasm and courage that you have done up till now. You have, of which I'm sure you are aware, a duty to persist in doing what you can for the inmates of Parkmore. You are free to go. As for you, Lanigan, you have not only wasted this court's time by changing your plea at the last moment, but you have continued your criminal activities even whilst you were in prison. I have no alternative other than to sentence you to 2 years' imprisonment to run consecutively with the term of your current sentence. Take him down.
The court will rise.
Next week, a chance for you to join another jury in assessing the facts when our cameras return to watch a leading case in the Crown Court.